Tonight, we have a rare first-hand account about Moderna's vaccine. Over the summer, our own Lance Blocker, one of the first people to participate in this drug trial.
Yeah, Lance, I want to bring you in and ask you a few questions about all this. You know, you were one of only 110 people, I guess, chosen by Moderna in the early phases of the vaccine trial. So take us through how all that came about.
Well, I received an email on, I believe it was a Friday afternoon, asking for participants that were in school up at the University of Georgia, because we were right down the road from Emory and the CDC, and so they asked for some participants to volunteer, and I emailed back and said I'd be willing to do it. And by the next morning, about 8 a.m. on Saturday, I had a phone call. They were ready to go, and so they asked if I can come donate blood and make sure that I was a viable candidate, and did that the following week, and that's how it all started.
Wow, and since then, thousands of people have participated in that trial. Most have been fine afterwards. So have you had any side effects from this vaccine?
That is a lot of concerns for folks, and so in terms of the side effects, I did have some. On the day 2 of both dosages, it comes in 2 different dosages. You take an initial and what they call a booster shot. I had a slight fever. It was 99.8 the first day, and then on the second vaccine shot, I was 101. But whenever it came down to the actual side effects, fatigued. That was it, right? There was no real other side effects, nothing long-lasting. Only about a day or 2 of fatigue, and then we were good to go after that.
Over and above the side effects, too, a lot of people seem concerned that maybe this vaccine was developed too quick. It might not be as safe as it should be. What have you been told about this just by talking to some of those guys? And what are your thoughts on the safety of the vaccine?
So yeah, I'm not really concerned about the safety of it, and here's why. SARS-CoV-19, or SARS-CoV-2 is what it was originally called. The reason it was SARS-CoV-2 is because it was pretty much identical to SARS-CoV-1, which was back in 2002 when they first started studying this particular virus. Then MERS happened back in 2012, and with both of those viruses beginning, they did a ton of research to learn about both viruses and what treatments would be possible to help combat it if it showed back up again. And so that was a lot of science that went into this. It was definitely more than just the 1 year that we've been exposed to this, that they've been investigating to determine how they would best combat this if it did show up.
And we just love talking about this too. It's just so fascinating. You're about to go back and talk to the doctor's office once again. So what are they wanting to know from you at this point?
Well, it's not so much what they want to know from me as much what they want from me. I'll be going back for another blood donation. And so I go on a regular basis to Emory's Hope Clinic. And these doctors and nurses, they're the best on the planet. They're so nice, they're so kind, but they're overwhelmingly smart. And so I'll go over there and I'll drop off some of my blood, and then they will investigate and do a full panel on it. And what they're looking for is to see if there's still antibodies. And the last time I was there, the good news is still showing antibodies months after I initially received the vaccines.
And Lance, will they follow you for months, years maybe after all this?
Well, on my initial signing up of this, we had a lot of back and forth questioning, as you might imagine. But one of the things that I agreed to was a schedule that goes all the way through June of 2021. And so they did state at the time that if we're still showing antibodies from the initial vaccines, then we're going to ask you to come back again, and which I agreed to. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
It's quick in and out. So
that's awesome. We're happy that you're part of that.
Yeah. Thanks for doing all that.
Yes,
on behalf of the planet.
Humanity.
It was not a hard decision. I appreciate it.
Lance, thank you. All right.